Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the number one network in the United States of America, and also Big C Sports has been voted the number one sports show in the universe according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America. Thank you so much for following Charlton and Big C Sports, as well as across the pond in London, France, as well as Paris, England. Thank you for following the Big C Sports Show, Big C. Also, Canada, I tried your song yesterday. I got so much hate mail, and that's from Big C. So I know you guys probably hate me. So I apologize, Canada, but there's no one I love more than them good old boys in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
It's going wonderful. We had this very, very warm day. You know, everything was great. You could tell the spring was in the air. But, you know, Mother Nature's rearing her head back up. I guess she got a little upset because everybody was happy around here.
Yeah.
The World Baseball Classic, March Madness, NFL free agency talking, the NHL hockey going on, the NBA. People mad about LeBron sitting down. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing in the world.
That's funny. They always say, who was it? A brother named, it was a movie called Get on the Bus, and he played rock in a
Charles Dutton.
I knew you would know who he was, but anyway. Yeah, it's all right, but it's funny how grown men, and mostly for the African American men, whenever they decide they want to take a day off, like white corporate America does, or a guy that owns the team, or someone that does whatever performance they do, an acting or for whatever sport, hockey, it doesn't matter. Not a lot of think about it, but the great thing about the NBA is that there's so much money being made by these black athletes, Big C. A lot of people are up in arms when they decide they want to take a day off, which they work for a union, and they have every right to take a day off, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, the honest view, Jonathan, you look at the complexity of the league. The league has 99% white owners.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael Jordan owns the Pence of Charlotte.
Yeah.
Doesn't own it all. He's just the front man.
Yeah.
But when you look at all these white owners and you look at the employment base, it's about 75-80%. Okay?
Yeah.
African American. And what you're saying is that you're demanding of these guys to work when they're tired.
Yeah.
To work overtime, to work excessive time. That they're not allowed to have an extra day off because the fans are paying to see them. But let it be known to the fans that the owners make their money from television contracts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's nice to have an arena that's full of people.
Yeah.
But there's only a handful of stars in the NBA, Charlton.
Yeah.
You know, who's the star of the New York Knicks? Because I'm curious, do they still even have anybody on the team?
Well, I'm sure they have some. Is it Jay-Z, Big Z? He's the biggest star back there.
You know, and when you look around the league as a whole, Charlton, you know, there's a dozen teams in the league that nobody even knows who's playing on.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tell me who's playing in Phoenix right now. I mean, since Charles Barkley and Steve Nash left,
Yeah.
who knows who's in Phoenix?
Yeah, that's worthy.
The Los Angeles Lakers, as great as that franchise is, nobody's waiting on the Lakers to come to town.
Yeah.
And even your boys there in Sacramento, who can care less when they show up?
Yeah.
You know, but when you look at the handful of stars in the league, and you're trying to say that these guys should not get tired, they should be the ever-ready bunny.
Yeah.
That they should just run endlessly, and regardless of how bumped down their body should be, they should just be out there on the floor. And I think it's quite egregious.
Well, Big C, speaking of the Energizer Bunny, this segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive it, tell them that Charlton and Big C sent you. Now, Big C, I know you love the Cadillac Escalade. It's big, it's powerful, it's strong, it's reliable. But do you know Cadillac? Yeah.
Quit telling people about how I look.
Okay, I understand, Big C. I didn't mean to let out the hit, Big C. But you know, Cadillac is building, I believe, is a 600 horsepower car, and I believe it's street legal. I don't know if it's street legal means when it goes over 200 miles per hour. What in the world are they trying to do? Fly that thing or what, Big C?
Well, when you look at the number of cars that are street legal that does in excess of 200 miles an hour, I mean, if you look at the Corvette has a version that does over 200 miles an hour, which is a GM production. There's many European sports cars that are built to go that fast on the road. Now, you got to have a stretch of highway that you can run that on.
Yeah.
You know, for the most part, or be able to afford
Yeah, that's some jail time. I think when you get caught, it reminds me of that movie back in the day with Burt Reynolds. It was Smokey and the Bandit.
Cannonball Run. They had a movie called Cannonball Run.
Yeah, Cannonball Run. But they also had one with Sheriff Buford T. Justice, and he was what was it? Jackie Gleason? Jackie Gleason played Buford T. Justice back in the day, and he had Sally Fields. I think they had a black Pontiac Trans Am, and they were running that thing about 110. Well, I understand with that Cadillac at about 3 RPM, you're at 110. Big C, that's a lot of power. Your thoughts?
Well, it's the king of American automobiles, Charlton. When you think about the Cadillac family.
Yeah.
It has always been synonymous with elegance and power.
Yeah.
And, for Cadillac to step back to the forefront to create a vehicle, Charger did that several years ago with the Crossfire.
Yeah.
A 740 horsepower vehicle.
Yeah.
But, this is the world of Hellcat, not Crossfire, the Hellcat.
The Hellcat.
So now that Cadillac is doing this with luxury, you think about the amount of people in America that want luxury in their life.
Yeah.
I got a lot of friends that's going to want to ride around with
Yeah. When you drive that car, you do get a lot of friends, Big C, from what I understand. But speaking of a lot of friends, I just want to say, number one, our thoughts go out to Jerry Krause. He helped build the Bulls organization back in the days of the great Michael Jordan and the great Scottie Pippen. They had Horace Grant, Paxton, and of course, Cartwright. Yeah. Yeah. And they I just want to also say that, they had Dennis Rodman, who was kind of a vagabond. He went from team to team, but they put together something great in Chicago. Chicago's known as a great sports city. We know they just had the Big C World Series with Chicago, beating Cleveland. But talk about Krause, Big C, and his impact on the city of Chicago. Before the Bulls started winning, they've always had great sports teams, but never 6 championships. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Jerry Krause has been with that organization for a long, long time, Charlton. And you think about the organization that he put together, the players, and it all started in the middle. People don't realize that when he had Bill Whittington and Bill Cartwright.
Yeah.
He had 2 twin towers, and playing center. So when one took a break, the other one was right there. So he always had a force in the middle, which allowed those guys to play great defense on the perimeter because they could protect the rim.
Yeah.
And that's when you had players like Horace Grant come along. You had Scottie Pippen. You had, Michael Jordan. Everybody knows, I think, who his name is.
Most people do.
John Paxson, Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
He had a lot of role players. He brought in Tony Kukoc, who was renowned as the best player in Europe, even though he never developed to that level in the NBA, but he played a significant role in 3 of the Bulls championship runs. So,
yeah.
But, the thing about Krause is that he was able to mesh players. He went out and got players that fit the organization. And one of the things that people won't realize about Krause started his organization with Doug Collins as the coach.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson got all the credit, just like Steve Kerr has gotten all the credit with the Warriors, where Mark Jackson built that base of that franchise. Doug Collins did that under Krause with the Chicago Bulls. His son just had Northwestern in the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. So you can understand the lineage of the coaching tree in that family.
Yeah.
From what he learned from his father. And he was replaced, and they went on the championship run, just like the Lakers, Charlton, also earlier when they had Paul Westhead.
Yeah.
And then when the championship, then Pat Riley comes in and goes on his run, everyone thought that Riley was the architect of that organization.
Yeah.
But Krause, was behind the scenes. He was quiet. He was like an architect should be, Charlton. He didn't have that Jerry Jones mentality, but everybody has to know who I am.
Everybody got to know who he is. Yeah, that's funny, Big C. And when I go ahead, Big C, go ahead.
He ran a professional organization, and you could see it with the players that he brought in, Charlton. It was all done with class.
Yeah.
You didn't see these players on bloggers, DUIs and fights and clubs.
Yeah.
Getting arrested.
Well, until Dennis Rodman got there, at least until Dennis Rodman got there, Big C. That's one guy that tried to add some more sugar in the Kool-Aid, Big C. If you say that for lack of better words.
Dennis was a cool guy.
Yeah.
Had been out with Dennis on a few occasions.
Yeah.
Dennis is a much different character in real life than what you saw him in the game. That was part of his persona.
Yeah.
His aura to make him stand out. Because Dennis was just an average player.
Yeah.
No one looks at a great rebounder in the NBA and
Yeah.
Or even a great defensive player in the NBA and says he's a star. But Dennis was a great marketer.
Yeah.
He understood that he was around superstars that were the pinnacle of the game of basketball.
Yeah.
So he had to create some image of his own because when he was with the bad boys in Detroit, Dennis was the same player in Detroit as he was in Chicago. But he did not stand out because he didn't have all the multicolored hair.
Yeah.
Taking off his jersey and things like that. He was just part of Chuck Bailey's clique. Chuck Bailey's posse because he's black, so he got to be posse.
Got to be a posse, that's right. Plus,
once he got to Chicago, he created this glorified image that the media couldn't let go of. And so he was held at the same level, really, as Michael.
Yeah.
As far as media darling in Chicago. But Jerry Krause understood what Dennis Johnson was, and he allowed him to manifest himself and become this larger-than-life image.
Well, when you think about that larger-than-life image back in the day, even if you think about Chicago, going back to Gale Sears, and Gale Sears has also come out lately and said that he's suffering from some issues, I guess going back to the Hall of Fame, but he's dealing with dementia, which we don't know if it's going to be traced to CTE, Big C. And, he played at Kansas back in, I think, 71. But when you think about it, in the 60s, yeah. Oh, so he had a 6. Yeah, so 67. I know he had a preseason game and he rushed for 4,900 yards in his 7-year career back in Chicago. But think about some of the great athletes that have just been not only in the state of Illinois, but Chicago itself as a city. When you think about the great Michael Jordan, you think about Dick Butkus, you think about the great Gale Sears, and think about Harry Carey as one of the most iconic broadcasters in the world of sports. And then you look at Krause, how he's one of the, I guess, the owners that did it right, because he did it 6 times in 8 years where they won a championship. And even though everyone thinks that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player, he didn't do it without a great supporting cast like some of the guys you mentioned, Big C. How important is it that an owner can go out and surround his best player with a supporting cast, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, it is, Charlton, and you allow that player to, elevate himself as a talent.
Yeah.
Because he knows that he has people that will have his back. And you mentioned some of the great athletes of the city of Chicago, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got to think about the great Ernie Banks of the Cubs, Sal Bando.
Oh, yeah.
Anderson Jenkins.
Yeah.
Bert Blyleven. These are the players that will go down in infamy as Cubs throughout their history. And you think about the Blackhawks, all the championships that they have.
Oh, yeah.
This is a team of destiny and charisma also. So the city of Chicago, even though the Cubs had a long run in between championships, but even look at the White Sox who won a championship a little over a decade ago.
Yeah.
So this is a city of resilience with great fan base, great athletes that have been part of the community, and Bill Murray is as big as any athlete.
Oh, yeah.
He's at all.
Yeah.
The major sporting events in Chicago. He's a proud Chicagoan.
Yeah.
You think about the former president, who's a resident of Chicago.
Yeah.
Barack Obama.
Yeah.
He was one of the things that was given to us by the city of Chicago. So there's been a lot of positive things politically and athletically that have come out of that great Illinois area. You think about Dick Butkus. You talk about Dick Butkus. He went to college in Illinois, Charlton.
Yeah.
University of Illinois, right there in Champaign. So there's a long lineage of Chicagoans that have been part of the history. And Wrigley Field, one of the oldest venues in sports.
Yeah.
They revitalized it, they upgraded it in many ways, but it still has that old architecture, Charlton. It's something that between it and Fenway Park are the history and cathedrals of professional sports. It's something that should stay around forever, regardless of people talking about we need these new modern venues where we can put 50,000 people in and 160 luxury suites.
Yeah.
There's something that's said about the purity of a game.
Yeah.
And when Chicago started winning, they played in the old Chicago Stadium. And I know not many people remember that thing, Johnson, but they even played football games in it. The original arena football games were played in Chicago Stadium where the Bulls used to play and the Blackhawks played.
That's good knowledge.
Chicago is a unique city, a unique culture, great people, and a great sports style, Charles.
And not only the 3rd largest city in the United States, and you have the great Oprah Winfrey, what she's done in television growing up, I guess you could say in poverty, but always very intelligent and hardworking. Look at what she did with the Oprah Winfrey Show, and that was preceded by, I think his name was Phil McDonough. Is it Phil Donahue, right? Is that the right?
Donahue.
Yeah.
Phil Donahue was the king of daytime television until Oprah Winfrey came along, and Oprah Winfrey supplanted Phil Donahue in daytime television. She brought this uniqueness and freshness that was not this cookie-cutter stereotype. It showed the articulation and intelligence of an African-American woman.
Yeah.
That she could go out there and keep an audience poised and drawn to her.
Yeah.
With her intelligence and her eye-opening interviews and uncandidness.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that, you know, has really changed the face of America, Charlton. It's like last night. It was sad to see. And, you know, people talk about what politics and sports don't cross over, don't mix.
Oh, it always does.
But the president of the United States last night, Charlton, while he was in Louisville, Kentucky, sent out a threat, not a tweet, but a verbal threat to the owners of the NFL. Do not sign Colin Kaepernick. Otherwise, you will get a tweet about me, about you.
Yeah.
This is what he put out on national television last night, a threat about an athlete. So when you talk about an individual crossing the line, and I know there was some talk last week, you know, about some rappers saying some things about the president and his family, and people were talking about maybe they should be prosecuted. But here's the president of the United States threatening sports owners, and there was one owner, Charlton, that sent out an endorsement of Supreme Court nominee Neil Gorsuch on team letterhead.
Wow.
This is a backer of Trump. So when we talk about sports crossing over and politics crossing over, they're synonymous with each other. But, you know, the president has gone over the line many times. But when you threaten someone's life, and Colin Kaepernick, like any other player in the NFL, Charlton, is not guaranteed a job or a livelihood in the industry.
Right.
But I would beg anyone in the NFL to go out and duplicate what Colin Kaepernick has done in the last few years to human rights justice.
Yeah.
Donating $1 million of your own money to Somalia for famine relief to help feed people who cannot help support themselves, Charlton. Colin Kaepernick also donated $50,000 in the local Bay Area to Meals on Wheels program for seniors.
Wow.
Okay? Here's somebody that the president is saying anti-American, but President Trump never donated this money.
No.
Matter of fact, President Trump is talking about abolishing the Meals on Wheels program to seniors and needy Americans, Charlton.
And a lot of those people that voted for him.
On these programs
to
help from you know, nutritional sustenance for decades.
Yeah.
This is one of the things he's talking about abolishing. Now, he can hold stately dinners at Mar-a-Lago, Charlton.
On taxpayer money.
Tens of thousands of dollars. He can fly in on Air Force One.
Yeah.
At $500,000 a run every time he goes down there for a weekend party.
To play golf.
But he wants to abolish Meals on Wheels for the senior citizens in America. These people that he said were their estates, that he was going to take care of, that he was going to make sure that none of their programs were affected.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, he's talking about starving seniors in America, Charles.
Well, Big C, number one, the reason we're the number one sports show in the universe, Big C, and iHeartRadio is the number one media outlet in the United States is because you only get real sports talk here. I'm so proud of what you just said about Donald Trump. I'd heard some of those rumors about what he was saying against Colin Kaepernick, and it just shows that Colin Kaepernick was right about a lot of things, that racism still does exist. And for the president of the United States to threaten a union about who they can hire and fire, that's stepping outside the lines of his power. I think his daughter did the same thing with Kellyanne Conway, telling people to go to Nordstrom and buy her products. But the ironic thing about Donald Trump, who also he helped bankrupt the defunct USFL. He owned the New Jersey Generals, tried to buy the Buffalo Bills. But Donald Trump, that same guy that's jumping on Colin Kaepernick, he committed sexual assault by grabbing a woman by the vagina and bragging about it. So is he going to tell everyone not to hire a guy who does that, who goes around bragging about sticking Tic Tacs in his mouth, to stick his tongue down a woman's throat and grab her by the vagina, and when they come forward to sue him, he threatened to sue them? Big C, is that the same Donald Trump you're talking about?
Well, you know, this is the same Donald Trump who was saying that all the illegal immigrants are rapists and murderers. And yet he's admitted that he's committed sexual assault against women.
Yeah.
That he has committed, you know, voyeurism against women because he would walk into these dressing rooms, Charlton, of these teen Miss USA.
Miss USA, yeah.
Teenage women, Charlton, we're not talking about adult teenage women, where they was candidly clad, half dressed.
Yeah.
And he just walk in unannounced. Now, you think about that. If you were a male reporter in the sports world,
yeah,
and you walk into a female basketball team's locker room, or a female volleyball team's locker room, female baseball team's locker room, Johnson, you would be hit with sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
Trespassing. This man walking, he said, well, I own the pageant, so basically I own these women, they're my slaves.
Yeah.
So I can walk in and do whatever I feel like. I can make them feel uncomfortable. Because what are they going to do? Sue me? I'll kick them out of the pageant.
Yeah.
This is what he's admitted to doing. He's admitted to doing all the sexual misconduct things that he's talking about having people kicked out of this country for, Joe.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like when they asked today, and even last night, he mentioned nothing about Comey, Director Comey from the FBI doing Kentucky.
The wiretap, yeah.
That he lied about Miss Obama's wiretapping.
Yeah.
He mentioned nothing about that. Even today, his press secretary, Sean Spicer, talking about, well, we'll see how the week pans out. Okay, you got the Department of Justice,
yeah,
which is ironically run by Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
This is one of the things Jeff Sessions has done right, allowing this to be said.
Yeah.
And you have the director of the FBI saying that Trump lied.
Yeah.
Well, Trump's making no comments now. He's trying to dig up something. He hopes that it goes away.
Yeah.
He won't make a comment, but he blatantly lied. And this is the person that people are saying, give the guy a chance.
Yeah.
Give the guy a chance to open his mouth and tell another lie, because there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't. But he also, Charlton, we talked about him threatening the NFL owners.
Yeah.
He threatened members of the House of Representatives today, stating that if you don't vote on this health care bill that I have proposed, you will not be reelected in 2018. I will do everything to see that you're not reelected.
Yeah.
So, when you got a guy, and I guess this goes by his book, The Art of the Deal.
Yeah.
That you spend your life threatening people.
Yeah.
Now, not only is he threatening NFL owners, Charlton, which all popped up to him today.
Yeah.
And for the past week, saying, hey, if you sign this guy, I'm going to tweet about you.
Wow.
So he turned all the NFL owners into sissies, straight up.
Wow.
And now he's going to go out and threaten members of the House of Representatives, public elected officials.
Yeah.
That I will make sure that you don't get reelected. So when we talk about somebody abuse of power, this is what abuse of power is. This is, he wants to have a dictatorship. And not only that, Charlton, Rex Tillerson was supposed to attend. This is the Secretary of State who, Putin's buddy, who received the highest civilian medal from Russia.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be meeting with the UN, the United Nations.
Yeah.
He is bypassing that next month for a trip to Russia to meet with Putin.
His boss is...
No Secretary of State
has
gone to meet with Putin with a Russian leader in modern times.
Well, that is so...
This is what Rex Tillerson is going to do under the Trump administration.
And all of this started with Donald Trump telling every person in America not to hire a black man because he stood up for Black Lives Matter. And I think that's egregious. Whether you're black or white or what color you happen to be, we can practice freedom of religion and freedom of speech. That's why the United States, that's why America was formed, to get away from the persecution, of religious persecution back in Europe, Big C. And for POTUS of all people, I would love to see, and we talked about this for the past year, I would love to see the intelligent African-American athletes, not the ones who are afraid, but the intelligent ones who understand what's going on. If they had the gall to just maybe even boycott, Big C, the first week of the NFL season or the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, if these owners are going to cow down to a guy who's almost a Jim Crow mentality, and they're just going to sit there and play anyway because they think that 1 week of paycheck is more important than the rest of their lives, Big C, would that be something that makes a lot more sense against the NFL owners who are backing POTUS, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, we've seen how quick an injury can end someone's career. But, the problem is with the NFL, you got 100% white ownership. Okay?
Yeah.
100%.
But you got 70% black athletes, though, Big C.
You got 70% African-American participation.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the decent white guys would go along with it. Outside of Tom Brady and a couple other guys, I'm sure most of these guys would stand up for their black teammates too, Big C. Your thoughts?
But you have to have that unilateral stance, Jonathan. When you think about this, here's the league, okay?
Yeah.
The NFL owners. Now, they will hire guys, okay, who beat
New York Giants.
Who beat the crap out of his wife.
Yeah.
They will hire guys, Charlton, to get DUIs.
Yeah.
They will hire guys who get drug suspensions, okay?
Yeah.
They will do this. They will get these guys and keep them employed.
Yeah.
But they take a guy who takes a non-violent stance against America. But, you know, it's okay for the Merrill family to hire a guy who's beating up his wife.
Yeah.
It's okay for another team to hire a guy that's been accused, a quarterback that's been accused of rape twice.
And played in the Super Bowl.
It also is the same.
And played in multiple Super Bowls, yeah.
And played in the Super Bowl. So, you know, when you look at how they do it, it's okay for a guy to beat up his girlfriend and keep his job as a quarterback, even though he's out of the league now.
Yeah.
But those things have been accepted. Let's send him to rehab. Maybe he'll change.
Yeah.
It's okay for a guy to have a cocaine habit, but if you got a marijuana habit, you get suspended. You got a cocaine habit, it's because of pain.
Yeah.
Because you're white. So you use cocaine. The black guy that smoked marijuana for the pain, well, we're going to suspend him.
So Big C, let me ask you this question too in the world of sports, because unlike a lot of people, we're too intelligent just to pay attention to who won the game. Because what's happening right now is people are cheering for the 3-point shot or the home run that's going to be coming up, or who can run the 40 and 4-3 or 4-4. There are things that are affecting the family members that they leave at home, like cutting education, like cutting some of the services that help our most needy senior citizens, Big C. I mean, that's egregious. But as far as the thing with Donald Trump, I had a little bit of hope that he would be good for the country, just because I wanted to believe in every president, even though I never liked him as a bigot or a sexist, or I definitely don't like him as a sex offender. And for many men who have wives and daughters, I don't know how you can stomach that until your daughter comes home and say, hey, some guy grabbed me by the crotch. You're going to just have to tell her it's okay because you approve of that. But Big C, this thing about where is Roger Goodell when you have an active president who begs everyone to come to the White House and stand next to that bigot when they win a championship, who's telling you don't hire minority athletes when we have this, what's it called, the Rooney Rule, where they tell you got to hire X number or interview X number of coaches. Now you have the president of the United States, a bigot and a fascist, telling you guys, I'm going to threaten you if you hire this black quarterback. What is Goodell going to say about that?
Well, you know, Charlie, we're really going to see the NFL stand if the New England Patriots show up at the White House.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, Tom Brady would be there.
Well, Tom Brady and Robert Kraft will be there regardless, but if the NFL allows the New England Patriots to show up at the White House for this annual thing that teams of championship have gone to, it really shows the stance of the NFL that the NFL is racist also.
Yeah.
In all of its actions. Because you have this person who threatened the NFL, a white-run establishment. If you hire this particular black guy,
yeah,
I will blaspheme you on my Twitter account.
Yeah.
And that will embarrass you beyond anything else. And if that embarrasses you, then all those people that can't afford tickets that are part of my base, they're going to come there and protest outside the stadium because they can't get in.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you know, when you think about the small-minded thinking, and like I said, I'm not saying that Colin Kaepernick deserves a job in the NFL. Is he the best quarterback that played in the NFL? No. Is he a top 10 quarterback that has played in the NFL in the past couple years? Probably not, Charlton. But he's not a lower 10 quarterback that has played in the NFL. And when you think of quarterbacks that have been signed, Charlton, as of late, and people will say, well, Jay Cutler's not employed. Well, Jay Cutler should have been employed the last 5 years anyway.
Yeah.
But Colin Kaepernick had to get a Super Bowl 3 years ago.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks have had you in a Super Bowl in the NFL in the last 3 years, Charles?
Yeah.
How many? So, and all of those guys except for one who chose to retire is not working.
Yeah.
So when you look at a quarterback and everybody will say, well, you know, he had a great defense. Well, every quarterback that's been in the Super Bowl, Charlton, as of late, has had a great defense.
Yeah.
So you can't say that. And then they say, well, he had a great offensive line. Well, you had a quarterback that can play behind a great offensive line, Charlton. Tony Romo's had a great offensive line in Dallas in the last 5 years. He hasn't gone to the Super Bowl. He hasn't played much either.
Yeah.
But no one looks at Tony Romo in the same light that they look at Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's had some bad luck as a white quarterback. You know, when was the last time Aaron Rodgers went to the Super Bowl, Charlton? Colin Kaepernick beat both of them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when we talk about these quarterbacks and they say, well, they haven't taken a political stance, but they haven't taken a victory lap either.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to look at. How many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls in the last 3 years, okay?
Yeah.
Joe Flacco has not been back to the Super Bowl. Matter of fact, he's only been above 500 once since going to the Super Bowl. But no one has talked about his career being over.
Well, you know, Big C, this is so interesting because we know that Donald Trump, he's a bigot, and if he were not a white man, there's no way he could get away with that type of vitriol and the grabbing women by the vaginas and the sexism and the religious hatred that he's trying to do all over the country.
Let's look at this. If President Obama had came out against that white quarterback that has played in a couple of Super Bowls that was accused of sexual assault twice, what would have been the cry of America that you got this black president going after a white NFL quarterback for his accused of alleged sexual assault and he hasn't been convicted? Colin Kaepernick didn't commit a crime. He took a stance of awareness. He didn't take a stance against America. And you know, the NFL tries to play this family thing. God, family, and the military. You know, that's why you see this military thing at all the games trying to say that, you know, we have a political involvement. That's the NFL's subliminal message with the military. And the military has always been around with the NFL, but they're saying they were disrespectful to the military. Something it was not disrespectful because he did nothing to the military.
No.
You know, what's disrespectful to the military is the things that these political leaders have done. That's disrespectful. You know, Charlton, we just had this scandal with the Marines, okay?
The sexual assault.
All these female soldiers were put on this website. And sexually compromising photos, okay? Okay. Did Trump go after them? Who in the military, in the leadership branch of the military, did he go after? Say, hey, these guys have to resign. They got to be kicked out of the military. He said nothing about that. Colin Kaepernick posted no new photos of female soldiers. So when you want to talk about something that's appalling, all these people said that, you know, Colin Kaepernick was anti-American. What about the soldiers who posted this website of female soldiers in nude photographs on this website, making rude comments and lewd comments about him, Charlton? Colin Kaepernick didn't do that. Colin Kaepernick stayed silent. He didn't go out and blaspheme anybody. He donated money. He gave to charitable causes. He helped seniors. But yet these military people who go out and commit these egregious heinous acts and their commanders will not be reprimanded, Charlton.
Well, let me ask you this question, Big C. Has President Trump or Spicer or any of them good old boys in the White House, have they come out and spoken anything about sexual assault? Has Donald Trump, because I don't watch every news program out there or read every newspaper, but has Donald Trump, the President of the United States, come out to defend the women in our military who fight for our country every day of the week? Has he come out and defended them about being sexually assaulted, Big C?
Oh, yeah, but, you know, he would talk about an immigrant incident, Charlton, if something happens with an immigrant.
Okay, but let me ask you this question.
These soldiers are not immigrants. Okay?
No.
These are American citizens.
Yeah.
These are people who were sworn in to protect and serve under the military guidelines, Charlton. To serve and protect.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you this question. Donald Trump's been married like 3 or 4 times. He has a couple daughters. Why won't he?
And the mistresses also.
Oh, okay, well, we know that too. We already know that. Get your shoes off the couch next time, okay? But we already know that. But why will he not stand up and support women who have been sexually assaulted and they fight for our country? He's the commander-in-chief. Why is he ignoring their cry? Why has he not said anything about how to keep women safe? Bixie, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, when you're a sexual predator, how can you blaspheme another sexual predator? You like bunnies. You like drinking bunnies at the bar, okay? That's the mindset mentality you have with these people that have done these inappropriate acts in the military, Charlton, posting these women online. Donald Trump states that's the things that he likes to do also, okay? He has publicly admitted that. So how is he going to go out and blast these men in the military when he has been on television stating what he likes to do to women? That he will go up and gross a woman in her private parts. That he will stick his tongue down her throat against her will, which all constitutes sexual assault, Charlton.
So
this is what the President of the United States said. So how is he going to go out and blast the military that he's in charge of that are committing these same acts and say that they're wrong because he has done it?
So how does Tom Brady and Robert Kraft stand next to him at the White House, when they have, I assume they've had wives and daughters in their family at some time, and sisters, and I know they've both had mothers, Big C. Why would they sit there and condone that behavior? Are you saying they tacitly consent to it also?
Well, Charlton, you have to be a pacifist to understand what a person like that is doing.
Yeah,
right? Say that it's okay. And he's made a defense from all these people. Well, these things happened while he was a private citizen. Regardless of whether he's a private citizen or a president, he's still culpable for this. It's still the same body of person, Charlton.
Yeah.
He has not manifested himself into or morphed into another being. He is still the same body of Trump.
Wow.
Okay? He is still the same low-life individual. Being the president of the United States, he's the same person who's committed these heinous acts, just like these Marine Corps individuals, Charlton, who committed these acts, and here it is, he won't speak about it, but yet he goes out and threatens 32 NFL owners about a player who has not committed a sexual crime against anybody. He hasn't threatened any commander in the Marines about these, cadets and these corpsmen who committed this heinous act of putting these women on the internet. He hasn't threatened any commanders, Charlton.
That is incredible.
He will threaten an immigrant, and he will threaten a black quarterback, and the owners who particularly would employ this black quarterback.
And Big C, I just want to say that this sports is a $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. If you need insurance, you got to get it through Big C Sports, through Ben and Mark. We're in all 50 states, and you can tweet out to Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network. You can also follow us on Twitter at Yes Charlton on Twitter. Talking about women, Big C, right now we put a lot of thought into March Madness, and I haven't seen POTUS say anything about these women in the women's basketball bracket. I know we have them coming up over the weekend. We're going to have Connecticut playing. We're going to have Maryland playing, of course, Oregon, they're advancing. Mississippi State, Stanford, a lot of other teams, Ohio State, Notre Dame. And even here in Northern California and Stockton, you're going to have Florida State and Oregon State playing a game together. South Carolina's also advanced. It would be wonderful for the climate that we have going on in our country today for POTUS to talk about no sexual assault or violence toward women, because they're out there like the men are, and they're for the most part being ignored outside of UConn and Gino Auriemma and also Stanford with their great basketball programs. It'd be great if POTUS were to just make that message clear that women have done so much for our society, and they have a right to go into the workforce and also in their homes and feel safe from someone taking advantage of them the same way Donald Trump has done against other women. Do you think he could atone for that and come out and say he's sorry for what he did? And we know he should be incarcerated for it, but will he even acknowledge it, Big C? And the second question I want to ask you, should President Obama, who has been hit with slander, you can slander someone's reputation, assaulting their character, and President Obama, I would love to see him bring charges for defamation of character against this brother and this knucklehead that called him a sick person and accused him of a felony. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I think that shows the character of the former president, is that he's above the low-lifeness that comes after him.
Yeah.
And while he was president, and since he has then become a private citizen, is that this individual has been so jealous of him and is trying to show him up, because the only thing that he can attack him on is this Obamacare, which he cannot abolish, because America will not allow that to happen. So,
yeah.
He's dead in the water. So, when you've lived a life of lies as a private citizen, and even though you've been elected, what do they say? People can't change their stripes.
Yeah, yes they can.
or nor can Donald Trump go ahead.
That patch.
So let's be realistic about that. This man cannot change this modus operandi.
Yeah.
You're so used to coming after other people and trying to berate and belittle everybody.
Yeah.
You look at back when he was with the USFL, Trump, and how he dismantled that league off of his ego.
Yeah.
And tried to say that it was everybody else and he was good for the league. Well, the league went away because he got involved.
Yeah.
You look at the NFL years ago when the NFL told him, no, you cannot be a part of us. But yet he came back and threatened the NFL today. I guess that was his answer to them not allowing him to be a part of the league.
Yeah.
That he threatened these owners today and they fell for it. They pumped up on each other.
Yeah.
So here's a guy who cannot go out and show respect for women. You think about his history of how he's demeaned women throughout time when he's been in sports. Even, I go back and look at what he said about Megyn Kelly during the debate.
Yeah.
And, here's a man that...
when he said she was bleeding out of all of her body parts, is that what you're talking about?
This is as spiteful as any man could be on television, and he was serious, he was not joking. But that's the type of rhetoric that he's used to using, and the people that he's been around that he's used to getting away with.
Yeah.
But to make those types of statements and then say that you respect women, you cannot do that, Charles.
Yeah.
And here it is, he's trying to abolish all women health programs in America.
Yeah.
And so his base, who say that they believe in and give him a chance that he's going to bring America back. I didn't know that America had gone anywhere, Charles. The last time I looked at the door, it was still here.
Well, see, and that's interesting that you bring that up too, Big C, because he is such a figure in American society right now. America's kind of the embarrassing stock right now for the European leaders now. And you look at Donald Trump's, his approval numbers are the worst in the history of any president, Big C. And when I think about what he said about John Lewis never accomplishing anything, and then he went to the African American Museum over in the East Coast in Virginia, and in this defamation of character against President Barack Obama, our first African American president, and now he's saying to all the NFL teams, do not hire a black man. I just think that's so egregious that you don't have enough people calling for this guy to get the hell out of office. We know he's going to be impeached, Big C, because the FBI and the CIA, they're on to him, and once they realize he owns about 20% of a Russian bank and he's gotten about $1 billion from Putin, that's why he's trying to go to bed with Putin, Big C. He wants to make sure he pleases him.
That is the reason why he hired all those state attorneys.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they were investigating him.
Yeah.
And Deutsche Bank in New York, anyone can research this, $7.2 billion fine, the largest in the history of the banking world.
You say billion? You say billion?
7.2 billion, Jonathan. Deutsche Bank received by the special prosecutor from New York.
Yeah.
Okay? And this prosecutor had an ongoing investigation. This is Director Comey from the FBI.
Yeah.
About Russian oligarch ties to the bank.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the fine came in. The fine came because of that. The second tier of investigation, Johnson, was who the money was being funneled through.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump knew that by having these state prosecutors, special prosecutors, that they had autonomy to go look at anything.
Yeah.
So if you fire 46 of them at one time, and you think about how many states we have 50 states.
Yeah, yeah.
So why you only fire 46? Because you've been doing active business in these 46 states.
Yeah.
Where you fired the 46 of them. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you fire these guys, they cannot look into your financial affairs in these banks that are under investigation.
Yeah.
So the next people at your point will be your people that you mandate do not look. And so this is the reason why this move was made. Now, a lot of these NFL and pro team owners try to do business with these banks also.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing that he's doing. There's a lot of money in the world of sports. There's a lot of money in the world of politics. But there's even more dirty money out there. We talk about the Final Four, the March Madness tournament, how much money was bet on it. We talk about how much money was bet on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And when there's 4 times the legal money bet on the Super Bowl as there is the legal money,
that's a lot.
People out there with big pockets, Dolphins.
Yeah.
Vegas is only small potatoes when it comes to betting on sports.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people of influence, whether it's legal or we know it's illegal.
Yeah.
That are putting this money down, but a lot of money laundering goes, Jonathan, through these major sporting events in America.
That's incredible, Big C.
And when you have these banks backing it, Donald Trump, he can launder money.
Yeah.
He's not beneath anything, Jonathan.
That's why he won't show.
These NFL owners,
yeah.
You know he's not beneath anything.
And you know he won't show his tax returns. He really has put a stain on the White House and American politics. I didn't know there were that many dumb, ignorant people in America that would let some person go around and act that way, and they still want to believe in him. And I'm not making fun of many people that are stupid, but
look at this. Man who ran his campaign, and they said he had minimal involvement. He did it for 16 months.
Yeah.
He ran Trump's campaign.
Yeah.
He's been accused of laundering payments from Russia.
Yeah.
And political party in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now this is Trump's money. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that's going on. So when President of the United States give him a chance? When all this comes out, who's going to say that they were wrong? Well, you know, we thought he was different. He is proven every day that he is different.
Yeah, he's an embarrassment.
He is not American.
Yeah.
He is not pro-American. He is pro-Trump and his cronies. But not his cronies, Charlton, his posse.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a guy who has a posse? That's the president, Donald Trump. He has a posse. Not LeBron James. Donald Trump has a posse.
You know how Russia's always accused way back in the day from blood doping with their Olympic athletes, Big C, and oftentimes they say, well, we're not doing anything wrong. And
before you came along,
yeah.
There were sex changes done with their athletes.
Yeah, they've done all kind of shenanigans just to get an edge, and it's ironic that of all the countries in the world, that's the one that Donald Trump borrows the most money from, the people who do everything wrong. And I just think as this comes out, it's unfortunate, but it's a good thing. If you have cancer, you got to cut it out. You can't leave it there hoping that people don't see it. And the whole world's going to see the impeachment of this president because they already have everything they need. And it's a shame that our country has so many dumb, ignorant people that are willing to still support this guy, Big C. But that's going to change. It's going to happen soon. I just want to say also, in this World Baseball Classic, because we talk about world issues here, it's been such great baseball, Big C. They're doing some games down in Los Angeles tonight at Dodger Stadium and Chavez Ravine. But we're kind of missing it because March Madness has kind of taken over, and people are looking forward to real baseball. But your thoughts on having this baseball compete with March Madness? Maybe they should have done it a little bit earlier in the year, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this World Baseball Classic has had some phenomenal baseball when you think about the players from around the world.
Yeah.
And the level of competition that they have presented to the fan base. I mean, they play in the packed stadiums. You can only hope for that beyond the second week of the baseball season once it gets started.
Yeah.
But I think truly that America has been robbed. Now, it's played around the world on other networks.
Yeah.
But here in America, we get it on a limited basis.
Yeah.
This is some of the best baseball that you ever hope to see. Every team is an all-star team, Joe.
Yeah.
And when you think about the American team, whether it's the Puerto Rican team, the Venezuelan team, the Netherlands team, Charlton, even the Israeli team.
Yeah.
All of these are all-star teams put together playing each other. So you got the best of the best playing. And for us not to be able to witness that as true sports fans, I think it's a true injustice to the networks. You know, March Madness, yes, it's synonymous with America. We got the NIT, so we got too much basketball being played right now.
No, don't say too much. That's like having too much money, Big C. Don't say too much basketball, man. Go ahead ahead, C.
Well, didn't they have a guy, I think the Treasury Secretary, that when he was in for his confirmation, all of a sudden, he forgot he had $125 million sitting in a bank account.
And one can understand how that's easy to forget, Big C.
That's easy to forget. I forgot I had this $125 million in bank taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matter of fact, let me get that together. So let me pay some taxes on this $125 million I had sitting.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, Charlton, just the overrun of sports going on right now in America. Yes, we have a huge population. But you got the NCAA tournament going on, Charlton.
Yeah.
You got the NIT tournament, Charlton, going on. You got the NBA basketball going on, Charlton. You got the NHL going on, Charlton. So when you think about this whole gamut of sports, there's only so many hours and so many channels you have to watch anything.
Yeah.
And to have this World Baseball Classic, this is like the Olympics, this is like the World Cup of soccer, Charlton, that all the nations of the world can get involved in.
Yeah.
But to have something this dynamic that's not dedicated to a network, ESPN, Worldwide Leader, is not dedicated a channel to the World Baseball Classic, Charlton.
Yeah.
You would think that they would. Because baseball was America's pastime for a long time. It has never gone away.
Yeah.
It has lost its popularity, but it's never gone away. And
Yeah.
the athletes that participate in that game, Charlton, are some of the best that has ever played. We won't see numbers replicated that we saw with Barry Bonds, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Lou Brock, Ricky Henderson,
Yeah.
Bob Gibson. We won't see those type of numbers again. Kurt Floyd. We won't see these occur again in the game.
Yeah, and speaking of Barry Bonds, he just signed on with the San Francisco Giants as an advisor. When I saw that Barry Bonds signed on with the Giants, I said, oh my God, they found some more bat power, Big C, but it's just as an advisor, Big C. So maybe I'll buy a few less tickets this year, but it's amazing that he's back in San Francisco, where he should be, Big C. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, it is, Charlton. about him being moved into the front office. You know, he has a great baseball mind because that's what allowed him to play at such a high level.
Yeah.
And people get so caught up in saying, well, you know, he had this, you know, he had assistance in the game. He had no assistance other than the bat in his hand.
Right.
That's what he went out and swung all the time, Charlton. You know, because everybody has an advantage somehow. Nobody's playing the game straight on any level. And I don't care what sport you play.
And whatever he did, Big C, everybody else was doing it. They were all in the same good old boy clubs. They all had access to the same information. Jose Canseco, he was ostracized for telling the truth. Most of those guys did something, Big C. So I applaud everybody who can play the game. And if you know your guy you lined up next to is on some type of extra high, what they call high octane moonshine, Big C, don't you want to put some more octane in your moonshine, Big C?
I watched many a teammate and opponent.
Yeah.
You know, utilize whatever they needed to utilize to make themselves better or keep themselves in playing condition.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. You know, it's like the referee, what they can say, they say they can throw a holding penalty on every play.
Yep, they could.
Okay. A highway patrolman can pull over a car every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
If that's the case, all right?
Yeah.
So to say that any sport is clean and omitted every substance that is out there, Jonathan, it's a false statement.
Yeah.
Because if you get all the players and all the, and let's look at it from a team perspective, Jonathan.
Yeah.
The team administers drugs to players, narcotics.
Yeah.
Okay? So the team is administering narcotics to the players on a frequent basis. So the team is the biggest pusher of illegal substances there is.
Yeah.
And so, but it's okay as long as the team is drugging you up.
Yeah,
right?
that's funny, yeah.
As long as you're getting your drugs from the team.
And that's
but if you choose to go out there and get something that won't destroy your kidneys, your pancreas, your bladder, your liver,
yeah.
If you choose to go out there and get something natural, we're going to suspend you because the pharmaceutical company is not making money off you, and it's hard to put you in the hospital off of these things that's going to hurt you later on in your career.
Well, we see it
we don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that. And speaking of a career, as we get ready to close out today's program on the Big C Sports on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America, and Big C Sports voted the #1 sports show in the universe according to Big C, them good old boys down south. Would you believe the Sweet 16 on the women's bracket? You just got to tip your hat to UConn. I know we have POTUS. He's been, I guess, investigated by the CIA, the FBI, Russia, everybody.
Let me give you this on purpose, okay?
Yeah, okay.
They have the Neil Gorsuch hearing today for the Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah.
That has been suspended, okay?
Oh, really?
Breaking news. It's been suspended because of the Russian probe into Trump.
Wow.
Has intensified.
Wow.
They suspended the Supreme Court nominee hearing today because this probe into Trump and the Russians has been intensified by the DOJ and the FBI.
Wow, and they don't want to have...
And you think about how important and how much he's pushed for the Supreme Court justice to be nominated and confirmed.
Yeah.
But now the Congress has suspended it.
Wow.
For this probe into his allegations involvement with Russia. So when we talk about this guy who has threatened the NFL about not employing a black quarterback, evidently he cannot threaten the FBI and the Department of Justice about his ties to Russia.
Well, that's powerful because they don't want a judge being appointed by a president who's going to be impeached. And everybody knows it's coming like a train down the track, Big C. Elijah Cummings broke it earlier. Maxine Waters, John Lewis talked about it. And even John McCain's hard to hold his lip because he's still trying to appease some of the good old boys. But I think he's the best running Republican. The only one that can really save the Republican Party, in my opinion, is John McCain. He fought for this country. You know, when he had these bigots calling President Obama a Muslim, he said, no, he's a good man. We just have a different political view. I respect that kind of a man, no matter who you believe in, what you vote for. Anyone who doesn't tolerate bigotry, that's why I'm really proud of John McCain. If Ronald Reagan was still around, and I know he had his haters also, he'd be very embarrassed by the soon-to-be impeached President Trump, Big C. Your thoughts as we close out? I want to get your thoughts on the great UConn. They've made it 109 straight, Big C, 109 straight in March Madness on the women's side. I just can't say enough about the consistency that it takes to win 109 games, Big C. Your thoughts?
Well, when you think about Gino Auriemma, Charlton, what can be said? You know, there's always talk about the late, great John Wood.
Yeah.
And his accomplishments at UCLA, 10 titles over 12 years, which is unparalleled.
Yeah.
But that's back in the day when there was watered down parity in college sports.
Yeah.
When you look at Gino Auriemma and what he has done with the parity, when you look at the dominance of women's basketball,
yeah.
That, you know, there's so many high-octane programs across the country to get notoriety, and he's been able to stay at the pinnacle of that sport, Charles.
Yeah.
And not 1, 2, 3 years, but a couple decades. And the character that he has within his program and the young ladies that he brings into his program, you know, this is National Women's Month, but, you know, it personifies with the UConn women's basketball what women represent to America and the world, because it's a true international team that he has.
Yeah.
And how they go out and they play for each other, night in and night out. He has no superstars on the team, even though you'll always find somebody that everyone calls a star.
Yeah.
But they look at themselves as team players, Charlton. And that comes from the mentorship of Coach Auriemma.
Yeah.
That you teach team concept. And team concept will always overcome that one superstar who you think can go out and dominate night in and night out, because that one superstar can't cover everybody.
Yeah.
Nor can that superstar get all the shots off. Russell Westbrook will tell you that.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Great game last night with Golden State. Yeah.
When you think about what he has done and what this program has done, Charles, 109, you say consecutive games.
Yeah, 109.
109. I mean, it's just, it's unfathomable. Who would have thought you saw a team win 109 consecutive games with multiple teams, with players over multiple years, Charles? It's a great accomplishment. That's what Americana is.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
You won't hear the president singing the praise of the UConn women because they're women, Charles.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about it.
Well, Big C, I tell you, there's so much going on in the world of sports and politics, and we tell you, you can follow it every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the iHeartRadio network, the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we tell you every program, there's never any room for domestic violence. If you see any woman in trouble or someone grabbing her by the crotch, just call 911, because that's called with assault. Also, as we tell you, every Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, worldwide on the Big C Sports Show. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.